right. How are you doing?
Oh, busy, 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 busy.
Yeah.
It's like back to back to back. I've hardly had time to even relax with a nice cup of tea in my garden.
Mm-hmm.
It's been, but I shouldn't complain. It's
Yeah,
in the happy zone of getting a lot of work.
absolutely.
So, and interesting work. So, no complaints. But there's tons happening, and I'm hardly finding time to even like relax to think further.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that space. I like to think, design, have that kind. I should feel that I have space. That feeling is not coming.
Yeah, but in
I don't
these
know if I'm
times,
making
in
sense.
these times, it's very good news to see somebody who's absolutely busy with work. So, especially, it's interesting, right? So, congratulations on that. And
Thanks.
formally, let me welcome you to the event. Thank you so much, Vanita, for accepting the invite and agreeing to be on board. And you were one of the early guests I spoke with. And I got connected with you on LinkedIn after the donkey story. So, it goes back to the donkey there. And it was lovely to see that there is somebody who's as maverick about books, and that was a lovely connect that we had. So thank you once again
Indeed.
for coming in.
Absolute pleasure, Rajiv.
Yeah,
And, when you said books, and like I said, I am fanatic when it comes to books. So it's not even like crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can see the enthusiasm flowing out of your face whenever you talk about books, right? So before we get
Okay, but
started
yes.
into the conversation, let me formally introduce you to the audience. So hi everyone, welcome once again to the Event Leaders and Libraries, and we have yet another guest whom I would call or probably use three adjectives to define her, all starting with the letter E. First E, energy. Second E, enthusiasm. Third E, electric. Fourth E, eager. These are the four words I would use to define Vanita and welcome her onto the event. She is the founder of Radical Edge Learning Consultant with 21 years of corporate experience, and she also is the founder of a company called Geminu, certified in Genos emotional intelligence and NLP practitioner, and she does a lot of work in the space of coaching. Corporate people, the education space, academia, and all places. Quite an acclaimed a lady there, and you can see tons of certificates hanging behind her. So I'm so happy to have Vanita on board. Welcome again, lady, on the event. Thank you so much for accepting and being here.
Thank you, Rajiv, and an absolute pleasure. And I personally feel an honor to be connected with something very unique in what you do, leaders and readers. So I was very, very excited to be called on here. And thank you for that lovely, energetic introduction. And no wonder people also call me Vibrant Vanita.
So I'll put another V called vibrant as well. All right. Super. So let's get started with the first question. So tell me,
Absolutely.
Vanita and books. How do these
Yes.
words go together?
When you ask that question, the first thing which comes to my mind is the DNA and the RNA. Okay. So Vanita and books are like DNA and the RNA. So I'm sure you know the DNA provides the code for the all the cells activities in the body, and the RNA actually takes that instructions, converts that code into multiple things in our body and gets what's the best. So for me, the books are the DNA, and Vanita, that's me, the RNA.
How
I
lovely.
literally drink, eat, digest books. So you can imagine what all I have done with the books. It's unimaginable.
So nice, so nice. So you what got exposed to books at a very, very young age? What age were you as a girl
Very
when you
young
got touched
age.
with books?
I mean, my conscious level should be
Mm-hmm.
when I was 4, but
Mm-hmm.
my dad says that he was reading to me even before that. So my dad was the he's the person still instrumental about books. Yeah, books and music.
Wow, that's almost like the Abhimanyu story. You started listening to books from the womb, I guess. How lovely.
Yeah.
Superb. So tell me now that you started reading, and I'm sure you would have read novels and Tinkles and Amachitra Kathas and moved on to
Of
the
course.
management books and all that, right? How has reading helped you evolve as a leader?
I think, that sort of brings me to Mark Twain's quote, very, very beautifully says that the man who does not read has no advantage over the man who cannot read. I
How
think that's
powerful.
where I want to start off by saying that I think reading anything for that matter. So my hands are itchy when I don't have a book with me.
Mm,
Um, I wish I could just show you where I sit. It's like I'm literally sitting in between books.
mm,
And what that has opened up for me is variety of worlds within the world I live in.
mm-hmm,
For
mm-hmm.
example, when I was reading, when I was much younger and reading Enid Blyton's books,
Ah,
you know, the way she narrates, you feel that you're there. You are actually there doing everything, exploring
absolutely.
that bakery,
Yeah.
that lovely food, and that, oh my God. I mean, it used to lead me into my imaginatory world so much that I used to thrive being there. And so my mom was alone in Bangalore, bringing up me and my younger brother, and
Mm-hmm,
she was a primary school teacher. My dad
mm-hmm,
was working in Andhra Pradesh, so
mm,
many of the times, if not more, we used to be locked in the house
mm-hmm,
inside. So my mom
mm.
didn't want us to come out and get spoiled. So she was worried. So she used to be. There's nothing to do within the house. There's only so
Right.
much you can play with your sibling. And my brother
Mm,
was not into books, ironically. So
mm-hmm,
it is all up to me, and I used to thrive imagining and living in that world.
mm-hmm.
So I think that also made me a self-made leader at a very young age.
Lovely.
Coming from a very traditional family, I think books exposed me much more than my school education
Mm-hmm.
and any other experiences added together.
Fantastic. Fantastic. What a significant role books play in our life, isn't it?
Indeed,
Because they
yes.
expand the horizons, makes you a far better person, capable to deliver what you want to deliver for the society, right? I think books are phenomenal. So lovely. So there are so many books. What made you put your finger on this powerful book called Triggers? What was the trigger to pick Triggers?
Exactly what you said, trigger. I said, so I was aware of triggers because in the leadership L&D space that I was in, we were doing a lot of workshop for leaders, especially when it comes to change management or you're
Hmm,
trying to bring in a new culture.
hmm,
The very fact that you need to know what are the triggers that you can anticipate, which is going
hmm,
to emerge in the organization.
hmm.
So you anyway know these kind of triggers, right? Just like the running race, you know that the gunshot is going to go. It will indicate for you to run, and you're still worried, and sometimes you don't hear in that. Um, Out of all the books that I have been reading, I think this one was became too personal for me
Hmm,
because at one stage of my career, that was 5 years back, I was almost getting into depression.
hmm,
Uh, and I think being a leadership consultant and all the
hmm,
tools, all the books, and all that, I could make that I wasn't in the right zone.
hmm.
And I think that's when exactly, and it was such an unconscious thing that I picked up this book. It is in my library. So I've read this book
Okay.
many years back.
Okay.
It's just that in 2015, I picked up this book and reread it, which redefined my life that I am today.
Oh, beautiful.
So it was like a series of bad things personally, which happened, like losing my mother-in-law, to a lot of things which happened back to back to back.
Hmm,
And these triggers literally gun you down into thinking that the whole thing is bad around you. I
hmm.
think that's when this book, which like an anchor, helped me to overcome that and get going. I think that is why I call this book as a trigger by itself, which made me acknowledge, identify, and find out how am I
Hmm.
behaving to these triggers. So let me
How
be
lovely.
telling you, Rajiv, it was so practical for me. Picking
Fantastic.
up this book and practically using it every day
It is. It is.
was mind blowing, especially the chapter 11, where
Mm-hmm.
you have that daily changing habits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Believe it or not, I've done it.
Lovely. Lovely.
And that is how I didn't get into depression. I was in the realm of getting there and I came out with the help of triggers.
Fantastic. You guys who are listening to this, this is something important Vanita's talking about. Pick up the book. They've got tools that you can apply at work. It's helped her come out of
Absolutely.
depression. Can you believe that? And Vanita, I think next after this call, you should go on to LinkedIn, write this to Marshall. I'll tell you, Marshall will respond back. He'll be
Wow.
happy to hear the story.
Oh, I will
Write to
indeed.
Marshall.
That's a
Please
good
write
thing
to
you did
Marshall
tell
also.
me. I will indeed. Thanks a ton, Raji, for that one. Yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
super, super powerful, powerful book. So as you're talking about the experience that you had, right, and the triggers, how do you think the trigger from the environment plays in leaders' life or in our life? And Marshall calls, we cannot ignore the triggers from the environment. How significant are they for leaders?
So I think first of all, you need to, I think for me personally as a leader, one of the things early on in my career I learned is acceptance.
Hmm.
And when I say acceptance, it is not equal to defeat or giving up. Let me
Hmm.
clarify that at the beginning. It
Sure.
ain't that.
Hmm.
Accepting is, first of all, looking at the environment realistically.
Hmm.
And one of the realistic facts of our life is that triggers are going to happen all the time,
Right.
and it can happen from anyone. It can
Hmm.
even bounce you off unexpectedly.
Hmm.
And hence, as leaders, are you ready for that acceptance and acknowledgement? I think
Right.
that's what the key things in even in his chapters he writes, right? About
Hmm.
how you can't run away.
Correct.
Uh, the more important thing is you really know about that and get that going. So I think early on in your life, as a leader, if you really want to look up your career, not only
Hmm.
as a leader, I would say,
Hmm.
even as a human being,
Yeah.
first of all, being aware of what triggers and when it comes out, I think is the key for you
Correct.
to be successful as well.
I think very rightly said, because all of us have the stimuli hitting us, right? No,
Oh
our
yes,
first response is a denial to it. I think so. Right, if we can quickly move from a denial quadrant to probably a confused quadrant, then move to an acceptance, right? The earlier we come to an acceptance, as you rightly said, I think I'm just thinking as listening to you, Anita, it kind of gives a renewal, right? You come out as a renewed person.
absolutely,
It doesn't
indeed.
help you to get stuck in the confusion or the
It
denial
doesn't.
quadrant for long, isn't it?
In fact, see, because I'm also an emotional intelligence practitioner, and I can tell you, the moment you accept,
Hmm.
what happens is literally you calm down,
Yeah.
and then the happy hormones gives you that kick to explore.
Right. Right.
However, if you're still clinging on without accepting,
Hmm.
you ain't exploring anything at all. You're still
Absolutely.
clinging on to it. And then I think that's one of the reasons that let go to explore. And I think COVID is a classic example for people like you and me who
Correct.
are on our own.
Correct.
And, everything at one was like a full stop.
Yeah.
All your business came to a standstill. And
Yeah.
then what? So I think that's again another big trigger which happened recently to all of us, and how that trigger can also help you explore. And that's when I opened my second company, which you talked about, Geminu.
Hmm.
Believe it or not, I actually started in April 2020.
Wow. Fantastic.
So
Fantastic.
triggers can also lead into productivity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Marshall is a father of behavior. The way he articulates how a human mind thinks and how those mind thoughts uh, transforms into behaviors. I think I don't see anybody who can articulate it as lovely as Marshall can do it, right?
I'm with
Whether
you on
through
that one.
triggers or Mojo or any of his books, he kind of slaps you
Yes,
on every page and makes you feel shit, man, what am I doing with my life? Right?
true.
Now, he says meaningful behavioral change is very hard to achieve. And the beauty is, he doesn't say behavioral change, he says meaningful behavioral change. So the power of the word is meaningful. Why do you see this as a very powerful statement by Marshall? And how did you work on this after accepting the triggers of the environment?
Actually, I'm, like you say, I am partial to Marshall as well. So I agree to what you say. It is indeed um, tough, but not impossible. But it is very tough to have a meaningful behavioral change, especially as adults,
Hmm.
Rajiv. And I've time and again seen either the internal leaders,
Mhm.
and even with me when I was journeying in my career 2 decades back to becoming a manager or a leader.
Hmm.
Uh, I think simply because behavior by and large, if it hits you hard and you know it has a purpose, you change.
Correct.
But to change into a really meaningful, and for me, meaningful is again related to purpose.
Hmm.
Yeah. What is it? It's not that short term band aid change that you want to do. But I'm really looking at a very, very long term, meaningful behavior. And I'm actually going to refer to what he says in that as well, because
Mhm.
I think I, in fact, noted down to tell something is asking questions. I
Yeah.
think that's where it starts, right? And I love this approach of inside out.
Hmm.
So, whenever you want to make that meaningful behavioral change,
Yeah.
it's for me personally, it's always been that inside out. First question is, why at all I want to do this.
Correct.
Okay. And that's exactly what he says, like he says, what do you want to change in life to even begin with? And I think questions are extremely powerful.
Hmm.
And when you do that, which is internal questions,
Hmm.
and then when you talk about that to your families or friends or mentors whom you believe in, further questions add up to say, is it really meaningful for you to move from A to B?
Yeah.
And do you even want to do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in my own career, Rajiv, let me tell you that I
Hmm.
have seen people going to grave
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
who they are
Right.
without acceptance,
Correct. Correct.
without
Right.
even a minute change into what they want to do, and they were okay with that. I
Yeah.
used to be earlier very judgmental, thinking, how can you be like this? But then it's okay. Okay,
Yeah.
it's for them to decide what they want to do. And for me, I believe it's tough. But I think with the right tools, which he definitely tells in this book, even in this chapter, where he
Hmm.
talks about, like asking questions
Hmm.
and even, the inertia power that he talks about.
Correct.
Yeah, and I think that's brilliant in doing. So when you have that clarity,
Hmm.
I think then it is easy to, so like every time, right, you want to make a change, it's that
Correct.
first few things that when you get the grasp of it, the
Yeah.
rest is so much easier for you to move ahead.
Absolutely, absolutely. You very rightly said, the first is the inertia because it kind of plays the role of a gravity. It pulls you so much down, isn't it? And it's so difficult to be
Absolutely.
that rocket who can just shoot off the gravity and get out of the stratosphere and be into the open space, right? It takes an initial thrust so much, isn't it?
Exactly. It does. And that's when I said, so for example, Simon Sinek talks
Hmm.
about the Wright brothers
Correct,
and the why, the purpose, right?
correct,
When they were
correct.
clear what they wanted to do.
Hmm.
Um, for other people who were seeing them climbing up the mountain, running down, climb every day, they were
Yeah,
thinking, what mad people, right? But for them, that was a meaningful behavior, what they were displaying and demonstrating. Didn't
correct.
matter what others said. They were very clear what they wanted to do. I think for me, those questions and that knowing that inertia to bounce
Hmm.
is definitely, yeah, it's
Very
tough, but
rightly.
get that over and you're like in the right
Yeah,
space,
yeah,
literally.
absolutely. I think it's all about breaking that inertia and just taking the first struggle step, one or two steps. Then you should be able to
Indeed.
pick it up, right? Now,
Yeah.
coming, I'll pull this word inertia from you. I'll borrow that word. Marshall also talks about in the book of multiple inner beliefs that plays the role of an inertia that stops you from taking that first step towards a meaningful behavior.
True.
He talks about 15 of them. Tell me what are the two that you think are the biggest inertia inner beliefs that budding leaders of the current world should consciously work on.
I think that's a very brilliant question you asked, Rajiv, especially because as consultants, I think both of us are working with the VUCA world
Yeah.
and, with the younger leaders. Um, I think one of the things that, again, see, this is very, very personal because I've
Sure.
been working with a lot of young leaders.
Sure.
To be very honest with you, I'm partial for all the 15 that he says. And at least in my case, I know where I am and what. But for this particular question that you are going to ask
From
me,
the perspective of the
specifically for
budding
two.
leaders that you work with.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So two things that stood out. One is at least I'm better than.
Hmm.
Ouch, that is like a trigger for me to say, you can't say that. But I think a lot of us find safety and solace
Mhm.
when we say that
Correct.
at least I'm better than. And I
Yeah.
think that is something that you need to come out because that definitely is not going to be the leader that you want to be in the future that you aspire to be.
Right.
So easy to say that at least I'm better than, but I think that can be a big holdback in your life and your career as a leader.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I don't know, very incidentally, I see people using this more than often in their conversations.
Hmm.
At least I'm better off than this. At least I'm better off than that. Or at least I'm better off the situation.
Yeah.
And I say, is that what you really aspire to be, like better off, or is this something that you want? So that's one definite, you know, belief trigger that people carry. The other thing that I want to bring about is, or I marked and kept for it to say that is, all right, here it goes. No one is paying attention to me.
Hmm.
These two. and you know that no one is paying attention to me. And I actually want to tell you that everybody pays attention to you, be it on social media or in reality. People definitely look at your behaviors.
They
So if
do.
you're living in the world where you think and no one is paying attention to me, so it's okay,
Hmm.
then I think a reality check has to be done to say it ain't okay. Everyone is watching what you do at every moment of your life.
Absolutely.
So these two beliefs can be a huge setback in your leadership journey. And if
Mhm.
you have it, then it's a suggestion that you need to really look at it and rework that belief. Otherwise, this can cause, I would say, like Loki.
Hmm.
This is that mischievous belief triggers.
Yeah, I agree. I think the first one is even more powerful, at least I'm better than, because I remember when in school, you go tell your parents that, I've got the fourth rank. The next question is, who got the first rank? I said, why are you thinking about the fifth onwards? I am already the fourth in the class. Nee, 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 nee. First rank ko nahi batao. What happened? Why could you not get there? I would like, God, why are you people like this to my parents? And they did not read Triggers of Marshall Goldsmith. But today, if you think they're only pushing you from this perspective, saying, let's push. Yeah.
Indeed, yes. And unfortunately, these are also culturally brought in so much in us, right?
Correct. No,
It's very rare you will see a parent as a coach,
absolutely. We would
because they
never.
are also
We
okay
see
with
them
whatever
again.
you say.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's what they taught us. But when
Yes.
you have a certified coach to whom you pay lakhs and lakhs of money, we would not have had anything the coach.
True that, because whatever said and done, when they were trying to push you out of this belief, all you did was either be defensive
Yeah,
or, it's like fight, flight, and freeze.
correct.
So it definitely didn't help us come out of that belief as well. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. I think these two are very important in the current budding leaders. I think complacency should not set in. There's enough and more for them to do, especially the world in which we are, right? There is enough and more.
I
I
completely
mean, there are
agree.
some that I never thought would ever be there.
In fact, because I work with children, the danger signs are, Rajiv, is that I see this in children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No one is seeing me, so it's okay. Uh, so what? I'm so much better than. And when I keep hearing these words, again, these are like triggers in my mind saying, oh my God. And though my programs are focused on gratitude, EI, and mindfulness,
Mm-hmm.
I also do sometimes coaching on these elements, because
Mm-hmm.
that mindfulness is all about also knowing what you're thinking in your mind and what are those little minions telling you that can, really create a barricade for your success and growth in life.
Absolutely. Very right. Thank you so much. That was beautifully articulated.
Thank you.
Let's continue the conversation on the triggers from the environment, right? And
Sure.
triggers, we also calls it as impulse. That you have a stimulus from outside, and there's an impulse response to the stimulus that we give, right? So this beautiful equation of IAC, which is impulse, awareness, and choice of behavior.
Yes.
How do you see that? And how did you work on that?
This is actually tough one to answer as well, because
Serious.
because it took me a while. So there are two parts to this question I'm going to answer, Rajiv. One is my own journey in understanding the impulse, awareness, and choice between the trigger and the behavior, because that is the nanosecond which everything just happens, right, in few seconds. So when I started my journey, I was an extremely reactive and temperamental girl, you can call.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so there's what's right, what's wrong. That's it. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing in between.
Black and white.
And yeah, so it is like, and I used to come across also very, very strongly in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So first thing is for me to understand this, and that I attribute to one of my line manager, who
Right.
really helped me understand that. Uh, so of course that time I didn't read this book, and I didn't know these concepts. Maybe he read it, he knew it,
Mm-hmm.
and helped me rather. But I think it is one is knowing certain triggers, especially at workplace. I personally believe is so much easier than in real personal life, in the environment, because what happens at work life is you're working with a set customers, set
Right.
people.
Mm.
The triggers become known to you.
Correct.
So then what happens is you tell your mind that, okay, this is the person, this is the trigger.
Mm.
And then you sort of work on it and be ready. And in his book, like he says, anticipates and then adjusts and blah, blah.
Yeah.
However, when you have to tell this to another person and make them realize that, I think for me as a leader, that was the toughest. And this happened with the elderly gentleman who used to report to me. I think I was then around 27 years old. And this person who was reporting to me was almost going to retire. So you can estimate his age would have been around 53.
My God, father figure almost.
Exactly. And then he was reporting into me. And what happened was, that's when, I really had tough time in, so one of his bad behavior was, and a reason why I tell you is bad is, when you are at a workplace and the work timing, you can't keep taking breaks however you want, whenever you want, and saying that it's okay. And the thing that he had was that, you gave me so much work, I'm doing it. How does it matter how many breaks I take?
Right.
And whilst I understand from his point of view that he's right in saying that you gave me this many vouchers, I'll post it within the time, but don't ask me how many breaks I'm making. What he failed to understand is that I had other two team members along with him. And this behavior sort of brought about, it was influencing them as well. And overall, imagine 3 people taking breaks very appositely whenever they want. That ain't the way we work as a team.
Yeah.
I had to literally do a lot of work, and unfortunately that time I didn't know any of these, and even you don't get trained as a leader, right? You're still starting your journey.
Yeah.
But I think what I really effectively did, and I can so correlate to the impulsive awareness and choice, is that whenever he was taking that break, how was I reacting to it?
Right.
And what was I thinking in my head that made me think this is so thing? So that's why I said I love this inside out approach. So firstly, I worked on when this trigger happened, like when he gets up from the chair to go, what is the first impulse in me? And what awareness am I bringing about? And can I react in a different way?
Right.
And when I started using these concepts, saying what is happening when he's doing that, and why am I reacting to this? What's the big deal? And that, then I got a good clarity as to how I want to present it to him. You see the difference?
Yeah.
So the first time I just gave him a feedback saying, hey, you know what? You can't do this. You can't be taking break. And he didn't like it. And he gave me a look which initially suggested that, who the heck are you to tell me?
Correct.
But then when I started using this, why am I reacting to this trigger like this? And then it was like how principled I am as a person, and that was not gelling with the other people's principles. However, what I really did was, Rajiv, is get it across to him, telling that every time he does this, what's happening to me. And he was a Tamilian, so I had to explain this whole thing in Tamil. And I think that's when he really understood it was not more about him. It was more about that behavior of his. How was it manifesting to me and the rest of the other two team members that brought in a little bit of awareness. But let me tell you, in fact, this is something that I found difficult because what happens is, like I said, triggers, you can work this. But what happens with the triggers which happens as we are speaking now?
Yeah.
So it takes a lot to really get into that discipline, I would say.
It does.
To pause. And that's one of my favorite thing that I do. And that's another reason why I was pushed into mindfulness as well. So from a reactive girl, a journey of even pausing before answering what I already know is what I would attribute to impulse, awareness, and choice.
Absolutely. Thank you for that example that you brought in. I think end of the day, if you see Marshall Goldsmith in Poets or Simon Sinek or all the great authors, it all boils down to your subject of being emotionally intelligent and being aware. It comes down time and again, in different words you may call it, but it comes down to that one fact that are you aware?
That's true.
Are you aware? That's
in fact, that's why they say, right, the toughest journey is the journey within.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to take it.
So tough. Yeah. And thank you for doing such a lovely work in that particular space. And mindfulness is a great area that a lot of people are wanting, and we don't have many mindful coach currently. So
Indeed.
Happy,
And
happy.
mindful leaders as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask you a tough question because I myself did not get the meaning fully. So let me seek your help to give me
So
clarity.
please, you're being very modest.
No, 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 definitely, no, no. Marshall Goldsmith is asking all of us to become Meteorological Survey of India employees and forecast the environment. How do leaders do that? I don't get it. What do you mean by forecasting the environment? Please help us understand.
I think, the most successful leaders in my career, they might not be well known
Mm,
like, you know, uh, Jeff and
mm,
Jack and all of them.
mm,
But the leaders whom I have worked who are very successful in life are the
mhm,
guys who have forecasted their environment. Let me tell you that. And for me, I think this is easy to answer because, like I already used two words out of this, right? The anticipation.
mm,
So when you are a leader,
mm,
either by choice or people made you a leader because they follow what you do,
mhm.
I think one is anticipating, which is the most critical one in your business.
Okay.
And when I say business, I mean even in the business of life,
Right.
right? For example, when a girl is getting married,
Mm,
okay, you need to anticipate
mm.
what all can happen. So it's like a complete helicopter 360 view you need to have of the triggers.
Right. Right.
And the moment you anticipate that,
Mm.
now the easiest thing is to do is to avoid. But again, that is short term.
Correct.
And that is what leads to more confusion and stuff.
Mm.
However, the smarter ones are the ones who adjust. And again, the word adjust is terribly misused.
I know.
Okay. So adjust is not going or lower or giving up or escaping. This ain't what even Marshall associates in his book. And I completely agree with him because I
Mm,
personally do this.
mm,
I think it is about being smart when to let go to gain
mm,
something bigger.
mm, mm.
Okay.
Correct.
So let me walk you quickly with three things he says, which is anticipation, avoidance, and adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
You are in business of life, Rajiv, and if
Mm,
you're in the business of being in the business of either influencing people, which is being a leader,
mm-hmm.
you better learn to anticipate. And I'm using a strong word here,
Right.
is
Right.
you better learn to anticipate because you can't be sitting like this, relax and say, oh, I didn't know that's going to come.
Correct.
Yeah. So forecasting is the key for success.
Mm,
Okay? So I think time and again, that's what we've been doing, right? For example, I think one way Indian education system helps you forecasting the environment is clear cut life path.
correct.
You do this, you have this, you have this. You don't have this, you don't know what next. So anticipating that, right? So that is in built in us. So it's good that you clearly, it's simple thing. Example, COVID happened in March.
Mm,
Now, nobody anticipated COVID to be this
mm,
uh, wrecking
mm,
for each of us in our lives, right? However, the most successful ones are the guys who said, okay, people are talking about COVID.
mm,
And these are the guys, even in December, when it happened only in Wuhan,
mm,
already anticipated to see what's going to happen disruptively everywhere. Will it even
mm,
affect us?
mm,
And those are the guys who shut down their company, who opened another company, which is relevant for this scenario.
mm, mm, mm.
And this is a classic example of a woman entrepreneur I know who's not even educated to read triggers,
Okay.
but did that.
That's adjustment after anticipation.
So, one is, she could have simply said, oh my God, go back to all our businesses and banks and say, COVID happened, and avoidance in terms of saying, I can't pay back and blah. But I think what she really said is taking into consideration these three elements of anticipation, avoidance, and adjustment. And that's exactly what leads into that three method stage that he talks about. In fact, I marked something for avoidance, like Peter Drucker's quote, which he uses in his
Mm-hmm.
book.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, half the leaders I have met don't need to learn what to do.
Mm.
They need to learn what to stop.
Stop. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that is again the key and the clarity that you need to understand about avoidance. What is
Okay.
it that you need to avoid that can not get these triggers
Mm.
impacting in you?
Correct.
That clarity, I think, get to move ahead in your life. And I think he also gives a brilliant example of Stan and this retirement age and what next in that book.
Correct.
But what I loved about adjustment is that example he uses, and that was for me a reality check,
Mm-hmm.
because I was exactly like um, this lady he uses in this book as an example, Sachi.
Yeah.
I was that Sachi. Because one, when you become a global leader and you travel the world, there's so much
Yeah.
stories for you to say, and when you meet your old
Old
schoolmates,
school friends.
actually
Yeah.
happened to me.
Oh. whatever you say just for a normal conversation is being seen as, oh my God, why are you tom-tomming about yourself so much?
Exactly. And I actually narrated this story yesterday to my son, and I said, I'm having this interview, and I said, what stood out to me when I read this book is this example, because it's not about what you have to say, it's
Hmm.
how much you have to say at what time that will make a difference. And that's for me is adjustment. It's not about who you are, what you are, and how much you know. And this is for me as a facilitator, coach, mentor. I don so many roles, and
Hmm.
also being a mother, I need
Hmm.
to be very careful is about not influencing my son how much I know. It's
Ah,
from his curiosity angle that I relive life.
beautiful.
Like when he says,
Beautiful.
Mark, did you look the green on this leaf? I need to relook at just from his point of view, how green is that? And that can again open up a lot of things which you haven't done in the last few years.
Lovely. I mean, I just love the last one that you said. Even at looking at the green in the leaf, you use the word adjust, which means for a moment you're adjusting the needle in your head and saying, okay, let me listen what my son is saying and look at it from the way he
Exactly.
wants me to see. I mean,
Yeah.
if only leaders can get to that level of thought process in every minutest of behavior,
Oh, yes.
I think meaningful behavior will definitely happen.
Without a change, because I think that's what, is awareness of the environment. When you adjust to see,
Yeah.
simple thing, when you use a lens to see, you don't keep it in one place, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
keep putting it to see which is the best place for me to get the right view and understanding. And for me, that is what adjustment is about. Adjusting the lens is
Mm.
adjusting your view towards triggers as well.
Yeah. That also takes us to the next powerful discussion that he says is, am I willing to at this time? So are you willing to at this time to make that lens move and make the adjustment, isn't it? It's such a powerful thing that he talks about, isn't it?
That's true.
Yeah, so nice, so nice. So such great learnings across all the pages of the book. I would ask you
Every single page,
every
yes.
single page, honestly, and every paragraph, right? Oh my God! And when I read it every time, I'm like, what a person! I was lucky, as I told you last time, I could meet him. So that's just a great blessing for me. Tell
Indeed.
me,
Yeah, I remember that conversation of ours, yes.
yeah. Tell me, Manita, from all the great learnings, right? It has impacted millions and millions of readers like you, me, and many across the world, right? What are the two biggest lessons that you would want to give to the listeners today from
Can
this
you
book?
repeat the last line, Rajiv?
What are the two big lessons you would like to give from this book for the budding leaders that would prod them to go and pick up the book and start reading?
I think one is that self-awareness.
Yeah,
I don't know how many of us realize that we are also triggers for someone else,
correct.
right? Our
Yeah.
behavior, our words, the way we connect, the way we cross we can be triggers for someone else. So
Hmm.
first thing is know yourself really in and out. And when I say know, not only about you, but
Hmm.
also about the environment you are in, I
Hmm.
think that's where the acceptance, in the
Hmm.
wheel of change that he talks about,
Yeah.
accepting is not a bad thing. It's to know and adjustment. These two words, I think, that clarity. And
Hmm.
as a leader, especially for young leaders, if you get these two right at a very early age of your
Hmm.
life, you stand out.
I agree. I
Because not
agree.
everybody does that. And second thing is this has connect to Charles's book Habits, because I
Yeah.
keep reading together as well. Because if
Hmm.
you really want to bring what Marshall says, the behavior, then you also need to build in the habits. So I
Correct.
think uh, I would say uh, get into the habit of writing down
Hmm.
what you pick up from the book, especially if you're into reading. Then, for example, even if something came out of this conversation and meeting, if you're watching one,
Hmm.
then my suggestion is to pen that down. And
Correct.
when
I
you
agree.
pen it, it really sinks in,
It
and
does.
then you start working on it.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, as a leader, you have tremendous influence out there. And how do you influence is not by saying.
Hmm.
You influence by your subtleness that you bring about in your behaviors that people have to pick up. I
Correct.
think that's predominantly overall in the book. I think he keeps on repeating it in many, many times that one is be self-aware, aware of what's
Hmm.
happening around. Second
Hmm.
thing is be mindful that you yourself do it and not just think about it and say it. Doing it is the key.
Absolutely. I mean, end of the day, doing it will give you a chance to display the behaviors, and that could influence many, many people outside who are watching you. And we spoke earlier that
True.
we are constantly under the radar of so many eyes who are regularly looking at us, right? With
Yes.
falling opinions in their own mind, but they may not share with us. But I think it's absolutely. I read a very powerful statement many, many years back which said, people observe behaviors, people observe behaviors, but pass judgment on the attitude.
Oh, yes. Unfortunate. And that's why the
Right?
perception, right?
Which brings in the powerful learning that it's all about the right behavior so that you get the right judgment about your attitude, isn't it? So thank you
It
so
is
much.
very true.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing in. It's such a powerful learning for all of them. And I just hope all the listeners here, guys, please go and pick up this book. If you have not started reading, this should be the first book. If you're already reading and not read the book, pick it up. If it is
And
audio
read
to you and you've been
it.
busting it for many months, pick it up and read it after this
Indeed, yeah, because triggers are there till you hit the grave.
conversation.
Different triggers, unique triggers,
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
triggers are here to stay
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vanita. So I'm going to leave you with one
anytime.
last question. Your experience and your thought on leaders and libraries as a concept and the work that leadership elements are doing in the space of books and helping people find the leader in themselves through books.
I think, that brings me to this lovely quote by Dr. Seuss. He says, you can find magic wherever you look. Sit back and relax. All you need is a book.
How lovely.
Yeah, and exactly what you're doing that through your organization, through your thought process, you're actually asking people to just relax, sit back, and let me help you through a book. And I think that is so commendable, especially in the era we are living in with
Mm,
technology.
correct.
Though I love Kindle and I'm thankful for whoever invented that, but I cannot be without a physical book in my hand. Believe it or not, I
Mm,
found triggers in Kindle. I found triggers in anytime books that you suggested, but
mm,
I still love this book because
yeah,
I can mark, I can write, I can,
correct.
So I think what you're really doing to the world is
Mm,
getting them back uh, to something which is magical
thank you.
and
Thank
which is going to be path breaking. And I think, Rajiv, limited life that we live, right? Maximum, even if you live 100, it's only
you.
100.
Mm,
But what you're doing through books, you get, it is like living the experience of so many
yeah,
in that one book. Like, for example, triggers, you have reference to Charles, you have reference to Peter Drucker, you have reference to
correct.
God knows how many authors Marshall has spoken in this book. And that means in one book, you've lived with so many examples in life.
Yeah,
And that for me is like additional experience. So when people ask how experienced you are, I can say infinite, limitless, because I read books. Yeah,
correct.
I think that's exactly what you're doing. And you really, really need to take a bow, which is such a beautiful, interesting
Thank you.
concept.
Thank you.
And I really fell in love with your concept of getting books into leadership and converting that into programs. And I highly recommend what you do because there is merit and there is experience in it.
Thank you
So
so
good
much.
luck for
Thank you
your
so much.
journey.
Thank you so much, Vanita. Coming from somebody who's been in this space for so many years, it matters because I think the formats are different, but the why for both of us is the same, which is about helping
Absolutely.
that one individual to become the better version of himself or herself, right?
Indeed true.
If this can happen through books and it has happened to all of us are becoming the better versions as we pick up the next book. There's one more version, the next book, the next version, right? That's exactly what we're trying to
And again, reworking yourself.
absolutely.
Like somebody said, right? You're not a tree, you can move. So we can always keep moving ourselves into a better place.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'll remember that. That's a nice way to end the session. I'm not a tree. I can keep moving. Thank you so much for that. Vanita, such a lovely conversation with you. Thank you for all that thoughtful and articulation that you did with all that energy that's pouring out of the window right, on the Zoom channel. So thank you so much. I just hope the listeners go back, and pick up that book and start reading. Thank you so much.
Thank you
All the
too.
very best to you and to Radical Edge as well.
Thank you, and same wishes. And let's continue this inspiring things for children, especially to get them into books and reading.
Please tell
Because
me.
my
I'm
son
more
also
than
doesn't
happy to
like
do
books, so
that.
it looks like I'm the only one literally reading at home. So yeah, good luck to you too, and best wishes for all other guests who are going to get inspiring thoughts. And I really am looking forward to listening to everything that you're going to bring about here for us.
Thank you so much. You have a lovely day. See you
You
soon.
too have a great day, Rajiv. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.